Good afternoon, Belize. I am Tania Isabel Arceo. Today we're reporting from Benque Viejo del Carmen in the home of Margarita Ávila, a Belizean citizen who was recently deported from the United States following a recent altercation with a USPS worker.
Can you walk us through what happened the day of the altercation with the postal worker?
The USPS.
Margarita explains that the situation didn't begin with her, but rather with her daughter-in-law. The postal worker was arguing with her daughter-in-law, and Margarita told her to ignore the situation. Then Margarita went back to work. She says the postal worker suddenly hit her in the face. At first, she didn't recognize who it was because the woman had sunglasses on, and she thought the postal worker had already left. She also says she was hit a second time in the back of her head. After that, the postal worker called the police and falsely claimed that Margarita had attacked her, which Margarita strongly denies, saying she never touched her at any point. Can you describe what it was like when you were arrested? Margarita says the police never asked her what happened. They arrested her without questioning and took her to the police station. After about 2 hours, she was told her bail was set at $100, but she couldn't be released because ICE had placed a hold on her. ICE later picked her up and she was transferred to immigration detention. She thought she wouldn't be held for long. Her husband hired an attorney to help her get released, but her bond was denied. Authorities claimed it was because she had allegedly assaulted a U.S. citizen, even though the charges were later dropped. It was already too late. By then, she no longer qualified.
What was your experience like while in ICE custody? ¿Cómo fue su experiencia estando bajo la custodia de ICE?
Margarita clarifies that she wasn't directly under ICE custody. Instead, she was handed over to a private detention company that managed the entire immigration process. She describes the experience as very difficult. According to her, the environment inside the facility was hostile. The staff, particularly the guards, treated the detainees poorly and with discrimination. She says they were punished daily, often by taking away their tablets and phones, restricting commissary access, and preventing them from communicating with their families. When asked if she received any emotional support while in custody, she says no. She was never offered any kind of psychological or emotional help.
No me dieron ningún apoyo emocional. Cuénteme cómo fue el proceso de la deportación. What was the deportation process like?
El proceso de deportación fue muy lento. Deportation process was extremely slow. After being placed in immigration custody, she was held in very cold conditions around 20 degrees. She describes it as unbearably cold and part of a harsh environment. She spent 2 full months in detention before she was finally deported. She describes the health conditions in detention as extremely poor. She said the food was inadequate, and during her stay, she contracted hepatitis A. Despite this, she was never given proper medical treatment for the infection, only for an unrelated illness. She remained in custody for 3 months and 2 weeks while under the care of a private company managing her detention. She was able to maintain contact with her husband, her children, and other family members. She recalls she was told at midnight that she was being deported, something she wasn't expecting at all. She was suddenly woken up and told to get ready to leave. At the time, she had $30 in her commissary account, and that's all she was able to take with her. She was only allowed to bring one change of clothes, which her daughter was allowed to provide. Mrs. Avila shared a message for other immigrant mothers in the U.S. who are fighting for their families. She emphasized that in moments like these, only God can truly help, and encouraged others to place their faith in him, assuring that with faith they'll get through it and things will be okay. She also confirmed that she and her husband owned their own business in the US, Avila Landscaping, and were not working for anyone else at the time of her arrest. When asked if she still dreams of returning to the United States, she answered yes, explaining that one of her 5 US citizen children has already submitted an I-130 petition on her behalf. The process is underway, and she hopes to move forward with the waiver application, which is required as part of the legal pathway to return.
We understand that one of your US citizen children filed an I-130 petition on your behalf. What stage is this process in, and how do you plan to proceed with the waiver application? ¿Cómo va el proceso?
El proceso ya tiene un
She
año.
explains that the I-130 petition was filed over a year ago, 1 year and 4 months to be exact. She says the next step in the process is to submit a waiver, and she's hopeful that this will allow her to return to the
¿Cuál es
United
su
States
plan?
soon.
What is your plan now that you're back in Belize?
Por ahorita es apoyar a mis padres.
Mrs. Avila says that her immediate plan is to support her parents. After more than a decade away, not having returned since 2012, coming home has been emotional. Margarita says she feels deeply saddened to be back without her children or her husband. While she's grateful to be with her parents again, leaving her family behind in the United States has been painful. Margarita is the mother of 9 children. 5 of them were born in the United States, while the other 4 are Belizean. 2 of her children, ages 12 and 13, although they will be visiting her soon,
Son 5.
they will only be coming for vacation, not to stay permanently. Her father, Mr. Lucio, expressed his happiness at having his daughter back home. He says the family did everything they could to support her return. Her mother also shared the joy of
De
reuniting.
tener a su hija de nuevo en casa después de tantos años, me imagino que es obviamente muy grande la felicidad, pero son sentimientos encontrados.
Oh, bastante contento me siento yo de ver a mi hija que ya la pudimos ayudar para que ella se venga acá.
Y también tenemos a su mamá aquí presente. Creo que fueron los que la fueron a recibir al aeropuerto.
Sí.
Sí, ¿cómo fue ese momento?
Nos pusimos alegres porque estábamos mirando.
Tenía muchos años de no verla. Joining us by phone, we have Lisbeth Avila. She's Margarita Avila's daughter, who has been closely involved in her mother's case and supported her throughout the process. What was this experience like for you as a daughter, knowing that your mother was detained and then deported back to Belize?
For me, I feel like this was a very a traumatic experience, not just for me, but for my whole family. So I have 2 little brothers, and that are the ones that are underage that were living with my mom and my dad. And right now they're with my dad. He's the one that's like trying to, uphold everything for that house right now since my mom is gone. But they've been coming over like either with me or to my other sister's house just so we can give them some support, because I know that they're feeling it a lot more than we are, because they're the ones that were on the daily with her.
Are you planning to come anytime soon to visit your mom?
So right now I have been speaking to my attorney about asking for a parole so I can go and see her.
What type of parole?
So I'm under DACA. So I'm asking for a humanitarian parole so I can go see her, because she was sick. She's lost a lot of weight, and I just want to be sure that she is getting the medical attention that she needs, because I know that if it's up to her, she's not gonna do it.
Cuéntenos un poquito cómo está viviendo ahora este proceso, sabiendo que su esposa está acá y usted y los niños se encuentran en Houston.
Also joining us via video conference is Mr. Avila, Margarita's husband, who stood by her side throughout this process and continues to support her as she rebuilds her life here in Belize.
Los niños pues lloran porque quieren mirar a su mamá y siempre a veces están bien tristes.
¿Qué planes tiene para más adelante?
Bueno, los planes que yo tengo ahorita es como yo estoy trabajando y no puedo, ¿verdad? Trabajar y cuidar a los niños. Ahorita lo que yo quiero es, lo que estamos planeando es que mis hijos vayan a ver a su mamá.
Mr. Avila explains the children cry because they missed your mother. Sometimes they get very sad right now since I'm working and it's hard to balance work and caring for them. What we're planning is for the kids to go visit their mom.
Margarita Avila's story is one of many that reflect the human side of immigration and the personal toll of separation, detention, and starting over. As she begins a new chapter back home in Belize, her experience reminds us that behind every headline, there's a real person with a family, a history, and a future. Reporting from Benque Viejo del Carmen, Tania Isabel Arceo.